Hello everyone, Dr. Tucker here from Active Family Kitchen. Today, this is our third video in the series for healthy holiday meals. We've already talked about appetizers and side dishes. Today we're going to talk about desserts. So probably will have guessed it that I don't do, really traditional sugar-laden desserts, but that doesn't mean that they're not still sweet. We do not go without at all over the holiday season. We just try to swap out some ingredients or kind of make some little alterations so that we are getting the best nutrition possible and staying on track with how we feed our families. So a lot of holiday meals tend to be really grain, dairy, and sugar based. However, that is not how we feed our family throughout the entire year. So we have adapted our holiday meals to be just on target as any other meal. We don't calorie restrict, we don't meal portion, we don't do any of that sort of stuff. We just know that if we're using fine ingredients that we can eat as much as we want. And we eat it for days when it comes to Thanksgiving, right? Because there's always lots and lots of leftovers. So let me pull up my list real quick for what we have on the desserts today. So I'm going to feature a few key ingredients that we keep in our pantry when it comes to baking things and making sweets. So let me pull this up right now. So first thing, pumpkin pie, really traditional, right? So I've always been really impressed with someone who can make makes a pumpkin pie from an actual pumpkin. So buys the pumpkin themselves, roasts it themselves, and prepares it. So we are going to start doing this in our family as well. We have made a lot of pumpkin other types of things, but not necessarily a pumpkin pie start to finish with a fresh pumpkin. So getting a pumpkin and roasting it. Pretty much any pumpkin or anything in the squash family, really easy to bake. What we do is we just split it in half, scoop the seeds out of it, place it face down in a glass dish and bake it. And so we put a little bit of water, that way it stays really, really moist. But we just bake it on a high temperature, usually about 400, 425 for between 45 minutes to an hour, just depending on how thick and big the squash or the pumpkin is. It's going to depend on how long it takes to make. But another good base here for making desserts nice and rich and savory is going to be using whole fat canned coconut milk. So let me grab one for you. We keep a couple of cans of this in our pantry. So I gotta figure out the logistics of a mirror, right? In our pantry, we use this for a gravy base. We use it for a cream base. It goes in soups, it goes in side dishes, it goes in desserts, it can even go in smoothies or in coffee. I mean, it's just a great thing to keep around if you're trying to reduce or eliminate dairy in your diet. This is a really great option. So let's see, this pumpkin pie recipe that I found, the pie itself is almond meal and or coconut flour base. So this is coconut flour that I get off of Amazon. Amazon sometimes is our best friend. I've looked at Thrive Market. Haven't really ever found a really great price point to be able to say that I definitely go to Thrive for certain things. But this big old bag of coconut flour lasts us months. I really only go for probably 2 of these a year. This is a 4-pound bag and it's probably only $12 or $13. So yeah, we use that quite frequently. Going to be sweetening with maple syrup, and then we're going to be using some naturally sweet fruits as well in some of these dishes that we're using. So a couple of other little key secrets here. This is a really good brand of an organic vanilla extract that we use in a lot of our baking and stuff, and then organic coconut oil. So this is a brand now we carry here in our office. We've actually kind of phased out buying this coconut oil because this is a pretty small container and the price point just much better. You can pretty much get like 4 times this amount for the same price, getting the big container at Costco. So that's what we buy now. All right, so anyways, making a pumpkin pie. You don't have to go without the traditional things. You just kind of got to swap out. We don't use any refined sugars. We don't use wheat flour or any grain-based flours in our baking. So you can check that out. I will post all the recipe links in the comments after the video is done here. Next dessert I have are baked pears. So baking fruit really brings out that natural sweetness. So baking apples, baking pears, also using nuts like almonds, walnuts, really just brings in that savory flavor, and makes everything really super delicious. So the photo that I have featured on today's event for this video is a baked pear that has a little bit of a honey glaze on top of it, and it also has walnuts. So pretty simple. You just cut it and scrape out the seeds and bake them, and then drizzle the stuff on top when they're done. So next thing on my list, baked apple pies. We did these first a few years ago. So we actually get an apple, you're going to core it, you're going to scrape out most of the inside of it, but you're going to leave the apple shape intact. You're going to leave most of the apple shape intact, so that it's going to turn out to be a pumpkin pie. You're actually going to, or apple pie, you're going to bake it back in the apple here. So you take out the apples, you season them, you know, toss it with a little bit of lemon juice and the different types of seasonings. You put it back in there, and then you bake it all together, and it's absolutely delicious. Let's see. Next on my list, I didn't find a recipe that's complete start to finish on what I'm envisioning here, but a few years ago, one of our favorite restaurants in Knoxville, Taste of Thai, had custard stuffed little mini pumpkins. So I want to make a paleo-based custard, stuff it back in that pumpkin itself, and then bake it again. So I found a recipe for a coconut-based custard that you can make, and then you're just going to have to put it back in. You can probably hear Tristan in the background. I'm doing a video, buddy. Can you wait a minute, and we will turn your movie back on in just a minute. All right, last thing I have on my dessert list are maple roasted walnuts. So again, using nuts, using those naturally sweetened things to make these treats and everything. You know, nuts have really good high quality fats in them. They're also really good for those micronutrients. Every nut, you know, profile looks a little bit differently as far as the micronutrients that are in it and what it's good for. So if you're watching this video, if you're catching it later on the replay, just go ahead and comment down there so I can know that you watched it. You know, give me what your takeaway is, what you want to try this year. Anything that I missed, you know, on this video. I didn't have anything specifically pecan or pecan related. Pie related, but I think we're going to work in some of those throughout some of our side dishes throughout the meal. So it's not like we're not going to have them. I just didn't make a pie specifically for that. So let's see. Tomorrow is our last theme day. We're going to be talking about beverages. So these are going to be healthy options for different themed beverages you can have around the holiday season. Healthy because they're going to be non-alcoholic, but working in maybe some ingredients that you'd never used before. So you're not just offering you know, sweet tea or unsweet tea or water or coffee or something like that, but trying to work in a little bit more of the holiday theme and getting some really delicious beverages in there as well. So we are a no soda household. We keep sparkling water around for treats, but I think that's one of the biggest things when we start to work with people on nutrition is really looking at what they're drinking, because a lot of times those calories go down a lot easier when you're drinking them, and by calories I mean, you know, the sugar. So, all right. It looks like my cart is on the move because I have a 4-year-old that is tying up the cart, and the camera here. If you're here live, I see a couple people are viewing, but I can't see who it is. So definitely comment. Let me know you watched the video. Let me know what you think about the video series and how else I can be a resource to you. I love all things food. I love all things health. And I have found, you know, myself personally and how I'm raising my family, that what we eat every single day, you know, makes a difference on, you know, our total outcomes, health outcomes, you know, how our kids interact with each other, how the behavior is, like every little thing can come down to food. So I think it's really, really important. You know, it's really just the base of life in our biology is what we put into our bodies. So I really want to help people try to make change and try to find some good alternatives, things that work for their families. So just comment below and let me know what you think, and we will see you tomorrow.